copyright issues due to the Emily Rada article through the cut. I have a special guest here to join me, Carlos M. Silva. He's coming out of New Orleans right now, and we're going to talk just about copyright issues. And yeah, so Carlos, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Hi, everybody.
All right, so Carlos is going to come on here and Carlos, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and where you're located and how people can contact you?
Yeah, so my name is Carlos M. Silva. I'm a photographer based out of New Orleans. I'm originally from New York. I lived in Miami, where Joe is at, for a couple of years, and I was lucky enough to do some work with him out there. I'm a lifestyle portrait and product photographer out here. You can contact me at Carlos M. Silva Photo through Instagram or my website, carlosmsilvaphoto.com, for any information on anything that I do.
Right on. So as you can see here, I also have my name here, Joe Matos Photo and Carlos M. Silva Photo, so that you can follow us on Instagram. Really simple for you to follow us. But today's whole reason that we're having this talk is to talk about copyright issues. We saw the MRATA article from the cut, and we just want to talk about how this photographer is able to sue Emily for $80,000 over an image. And for those of you that don't know what the image is, let me pull up my screen here so I can share it with you guys so you can see what we're talking about here. So this picture right here of Emily is what she's being sued for. She shared it on, I guess, her social media, and this guy, but you literally cannot even see her face on it. So the question is, how is this guy suing Emily for an image that you can't even see her face on it, right? And I think that's the biggest issue that we want to talk about. And from my perspective as a photographer, it's that the photographer copyrighted his image. And since he copyrighted his image, he technically owns, even though Emily is in the image, is not her image to sit back and say, hey, that's my image, you can't share it, because the photographer created the image and he owns the copyright. Do I think it's right? No, I don't think it's right that you can just $80,000 over an image that's of them where you. But the instance is, and I think this is important to talk about, is models should understand that photographers do own the copyrights to their work, and they are trying to protect their work by ensuring that they can sell it to. I want to say they can sell it to like TMZ, Vogue, or something like that, and they want to sell it. And every actress or model, photographer, we're all entrepreneurs. We're all contract workers. We all get a job one shot at a time.
Yeah.
So I think that's the understanding that while she wants to buy back her image, it's kind of hard to buy back an image from somebody that you never hired to shoot you. And I think that's the biggest issue and concern that I see going on here. Carlos, you want to chime in on this a little bit?
Yeah. So I like Joe, see two sides of the coin. Obviously, Emily makes now an incredible amount of money, and photographers are usually, they don't, unless you're like a celebrity photographer that you're hired through a company or whatever. I don't know how much, millions of dollars you can make. Obviously, there's an ethical issue happening where the photographer, he has the right to say, hey, please don't show a photo that I took of you, which he could have easily just asked or told, to take it down. And the model also, would have been nice to ask if they can use the picture to post, because some of these celebrities get paid through Instagram to share their own photo, as influencers. But I think that it's the photographer, all in all, it's the photographer's responsibility to educate the public and the model about the use of the picture. Granted, this is a paparazzi photographer where they're not asking permissions. They're going out and they're taking pictures of celebrities and, to sell to like sites like TMZ or whatever. Yeah, I think that it's a tough one because I don't know if I would have sued for $80,000, but at the same time, you know, if they're getting paid, well, man, I want to get paid too, you know? So
Right.
it's a tough one to.
When it comes down to so, so when it comes down to the $80,000, that has to do with the legal copyright status, right?
Yeah.
So like if you go to the Library of Congress and you submit your images there, and everything's inside the format for Library of Congress, then legally your images. And since those are legally all your images, you have every right to protect your work.
Right.
I don't know that some buildings are actually copyrighted. So if you take, as a photographer, you take a picture of that building and you post it and you go to sell it, the architecture can sue you for using their buildings copyrighted.
Yeah.
So there's a thing also with, I saw a video about this where if you copyright your work and it's through the Library of Congress, you can have you can go ahead and contact a lawyer and say, hey, listen, these people are on my copyright. I have it copyrighted to the Library of Congress. And all of a sudden now, those people are responsible for your fees. And if it's the known, did it blatantly, they know that it was copyrighted, I think it's up to $150,000. If they unknowingly stole your copyright, it's $80,000. So I think that's like the big thing that people are not realizing, that there's a lot of money out there for our images. Have out there that are on Instagram or wherever, somebody can take it and reuse it. That legally, there's $80,000 or $150,000 on the line of what we're leaving out.
Yeah.
Now, is it always right? Somebody say, hey, you took a picture of mine and you did this, and you owe me $80,000. That person may not even have $80,000.
Yeah.
So you got to pick and choose your battles.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's all about.
Honestly, like I think that a photo like the one that's there with the flowers. Joe, I don't know if you want to pull that up so people can see the flowers.
Let's pull it back up.
To me, to go through all that, I don't know if that picture has a lot that much value. Obviously now it does, because
I don't think
on New York Magazine and The Cut. But to go through all that is just, I think, an ethical thing, But I think that you can easily, or simply, I would say not easily, just all you have to do is ask and talk, and communicate. Whether you're a paparazzi photographer, celebrity photographer in that way, or someone who gets hired to shoot, for a magazine spread or any type of publication. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, again, and there's some photographers that are really just assholes. You can ask them all day and say, hey, can I? And they're like, no, you got to pay me money. And the name of the game is take this picture, I'm going to sell it to make money. That's paparazzi. That's what paparazzi does. Now, if you go to work with a local photographer and you hire the person, most likely the photographer is going to say, listen, I can give you these pictures. You can do whatever you need to do with it. You have your contract, you get your agreed amount upon the images that you're giving out. And maybe you say, hey, all right, you want more images, I got to charge extra fee for these pictures. But most of the time, the photographer isn't going to say, hey, I'm going to sue you if you share this picture. So that's the big difference of this. And from her essays that she wrote, which are all really good, there's 3 different essays in this Cut article. And 3 of them, I think we're going to touch on 2 of them, right? Just this one here, paparazzi, and then the scumbag photographer at the end that just completely was just scumbag. Those type of photographers that we don't need inside this industry. We don't want those type of people in the industry because they give all the rest of us a bad name.
Yeah, great.
So, I mean, I think the articles are great. The second essay that we're really not going to touch on really is about an artist that was going through Instagram, and he was taking people's pictures and just writing one comment on the picture and saying it was his art. So, I mean, I don't think we really need to touch on that because that's more of an artist point and not a photographer point, which we are artists as photographers. Yeah. But it's a little bit more of a fine art thing. So I think we touched on the copyright enough so far. So I kind of want to go over to the scumbag photographer. I don't know his exact name, and I don't feel like we need to speak his name because I don't think giving people credit for doing dirtbag things is a good thing. If you want to know his name, check out the article on the cut. It's called by Emily. It's by Emily Rada, and it's called "Buying Back My Image" or something like that. It's one of the top stories on there right now. But basically,
New York Magazine too. The article.
Okay, so basically, this photographer shot Emily when she was younger, and he did some nude photography with her, and he kept all the images until she blew up and became a big star after the blurred line videos, and he released images of he released books and fine arts of her naked, basically without her consent. So that's the first thing that I think is completely just wrong to do.
Yeah.
What makes it worse is she said that he sexually assaulted her during the photo shoot by getting her drunk and doing all these different things with her, and it's not cool. And me and Carlos were talking earlier before the stream about about how alcohol and photo shoots, what happens to it, and how we can tell the difference. So when I first started out, I would have models that would request, "Hey, would you bring some alcohol to this photo shoot?" And I thought it was normal because I said, all right, models keep asking me for alcohol. And the more I started working with models and I started realizing that wasn't a normal thing to bring to photo shoot. So I stopped doing it. But I learned also, as I told Carlos earlier, that the difference of working with a model, an Instagram model, and an influencer, all three are completely different. Working with agency models, they're never going to ask you to bring alcohol to the photo shoot because they're going to have their skin refreshed, they're going to be hydrated, they're ready to work. Instagram models, from my experience, they have been more open to, hey, bring alcohol, bring some drugs, bring something, let's have a party. And that's kind of not where I'm looking to shoot anymore. Influencers, some of them want some alcohol, some of them are trying to be models, some are trying to grow more into it. But the whole point is there's different type of models that you work with. And I don't want to get too far off topic because I felt like I got off topic there. But back to Emily. So when she got big, that photographer that shot those nude photos of her decided that he was going to release books of her and sell them without her knowing about it. And she asked her agent, "Hey, did you sign a model release form?" She doesn't remember signing a model release form. The agent doesn't know nothing about model release form. But as photographers, every picture that we capture on our cameras, on our cards, they technically belong to us already by copyright because we created the image. So the issue is a morality thing, or ethical thing. I'm sorry. Even though I have these pictures of you where you're naked and whatever, now you're a celebrity, it's I got to control my ethics of saying I'm a professional. I'm not going to release these pictures of this superstar because I already have them, or I'm going to talk to this person and say, "Hey, hey, this is Joe. We shot maybe 3 years ago. I got these pictures. I'd like to release them. What are your thoughts on it?" Because Emily is now an actress and she's now doing all these other great things, and she has to protect her image. She can't be out there having nude images of her all over the place because it's going to cost her work in the future. So, Carlos, what are your thoughts on this?
I think that, according to the article, it just sounds like, obviously, during these times, things like this wouldn't fly. They shouldn't. And they should have never. It doesn't make it right back then. It's definitely not right now. If you're looking, no matter what type of model you are, even if you do, like I said earlier to Joe, if you're doing a sexy lingerie type of shoot, something that's personal for you, you have to look at the photographer's body of work and how reputable they are. I think that how well you communicate, how well the photographer communicates with you, shows how much they value their own work, and they won't go through, putting, even if you sign a release form, putting you through that situation like that. Now, we have to make it clear to the models and the people that we photograph of what the image can be used for, what the, how much sharing are you allowed to have, if you are allowed to sell your own photo, or if we're allowed to share your own photo. Now I can be like, yeah, I'm going to make tons of money selling these, photos of this person who, at some point was naked in front of me. But, that just goes back to the morality issues that finding the right person to work with. I think that from what I get from this article is that Emily was young, and the photographer just took advantage of her. That's bottom line. So I think that it's a lesson for everyone that when you're working with someone, look at their body of work. Definitely read the contracts that photographers are sending you. Don't just sign on the dotted line either. So protect yourself, and you're protecting the photographer when you do that. I certainly am one to be like, here, sign this, and you just sign and don't read. It's hard to when you're, because if there's like a bunch of models and there's a time management issue, to sit down and speak to the photographer and, read over contracts and licensing and all that stuff. But it's important that, if you can, to do it. Definitely not, photographers like this aren't one to work with. I was telling Joe earlier, if you have a studio and you have a bar cart and there's some alcohol there, that's usually provided complimentary for the guests or the clients. They're usually not throwing them back, So if you see people, unless, I don't know, I guess I'm the type of person that if I'm going to a photo shoot and there's a party and my job is to capture this party and they're like, the client is like, hey, have this, and all this stuff, I'll be like, okay, I'll wait till later until I'm done working, or I'll leave and I'll take my team and I'll take them out for drinks, things like that. That's probably the route that I would go.
Yeah, and another thing for models to be aware of, if you get a photographer that says only you can come to this, don't go.
Yeah.
If the photographer's not saying, hey, if you want to bring some friends with you, you want to bring your boyfriend, your mom, your dad, whoever, don't go, because that guy got bad intentions. He's going to try to get you didn't even talk about it. Now that he got you inside the studio or on the set, you're going to feel awkward saying no to doing something.
Yeah.
Because everything's going to be flowing. He's going to say, what would be great? Take off your top. And as a model, you may say, going with this, but, I don't want to ruin the shoot. But if your mom's there, your dad's there, your boyfriend, your brother, whoever, and says, no, that's not happening.
Yeah.
Then, it is what it is.
Especially
if that's more, it's more for you.
If you're an inexperienced model and you might think that this is normal. You don't know. If I would say, when in doubt, throw it out. That's my saying. Like if you feel like it's not right, then I wouldn't go ahead into it. If there's no plan either, sometimes there's no plan. And the photographer's like, hey, it's a closed set. We just need you to be there. Like if you're not Marina Abramovich, which needs to be in a confined space, silent and not moving anywhere, then you probably shouldn't do that if you're not her. If you're not that type of artist. If a photographer just wants to take pictures of you and if there's a bad feeling, then I wouldn't do it. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the other thing that models can always ask for also is like mood board. Say, hey, can you give me a mood board and show me what we're planning to do? So you get an idea of it. Because even if the photographer goes off the board, but still kind of stays style, it's not actually doing anything crazy, you're aware that, you're taking these type of images.
Yeah.
Because if I see a mood board and it's a swimwear shoot and you're going to be in thongs and tiny bikinis and you're not comfortable with that, well, then you can say, hey, Joe, I'm not comfortable with these type of images up front. And then I can just go back and say, all right, let's get a different type of swimwear. Let's get one pieces and make her more comfortable or something like that. So that's something to be aware of. Unfortunately, Emily and this was young, as you said. They were doing some nude shoots, which does happen for a lot of models. A lot of models need some nude shoots for their portfolio. But this photographer just kept providing her alcohol, trying to get with her, trying to hook up with her, sexually assaulted her in the process, and it's just wrong. Now he's reselling all of these nude pictures of her that she's not even she never gave consent to, because she said she never signed a model release form. And from the article, it doesn't say if the guy has produced one or not. But my question would be is, produce the form saying that it was okay for this.
Yeah.
And then, like I mentioned earlier, though, every picture a photographer takes, automatically copyright goes to the photographer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big issue because, yes, he has copyrights of the images, but does he have the authorization to publish it and sell them? And that's the ethical issue, because I think he does have the right to publish and sell them, but should he sell them?
Right.
Should that be something to be done? Should that be something that said, hey, man, you know what? Emily was really cool when we did this photo shoot, and I don't want to do her like that. But some people just look at the money and say, well, I'm going to make all this money. I don't care.
Yeah.
And those are things you got to watch out for, because I'm not that type of person. Like, I'm not going to have any new pictures of you. You're this huge celebrity now. I'm like, hey, look, I'm going to sell all these pictures.
Yeah.
So it's a big moral. It's a moral issue, an ethical issue. Like I said.
Yeah.
As a photographer, you have to understand when you can do something like that and when you can't.
Yeah.
Because it's not right to share pictures of somebody like that if they had no intentions of you ever posting pictures like that.
Right.
And especially now that she's a celebrity, because you are infringing on her work.
Yeah.
Because now she can't get a job on Disney Plus because you're sharing these pictures.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Well, piggyback on the money making thing, photographers. I remember I had pictures of an old friend who is kind of famous, or I would say she's pretty famous. What, about 9 years ago? And we were doing a small ad for a club in the Dominican Republic. I don't think the club actually, took off. So I'm not sure what they did. Not to be honest, I was young back then too, or inexperienced, and so I didn't know. Anyway, fast forward, I could sell those pictures that we took, if I wanted to, and probably make a good amount of money. But I think when you do that, you're burning bridges with your own future. Not only are you burning bridges with a model, but you are also burning bridges with people that you could potentially work with or work for at the same time. This person has become a pretty good friend of mine. She is on a major TV network in the U.S. And I think if I would have shared those type of photos of her, she would be extremely disappointed, and then my career would probably go south.
Correct.
And I would have a lot of money, I think, but I don't know. Where's the value in that, and the morality in that? So I think when you're working with people, you have to look at what the values are as photographers. Now we can shoot photographers in lingerie all day, but like I was telling Joe earlier, whether you're an Instagram model, whether you are a influencer or a model that comes from an agency, when you're working in a professional setting, you're there and you're on and you're ready to go. So things like bringing alcohol into a photo shoot just to kind of help people relax, or saying that you're helping the models relax, honestly, is not a thing. It's not a thing. Models that you work with that are professional, no matter which genre or whatever type of model that you are there and they're ready to work. And photographers should be the same way.
Yeah, because we're there to shoot. We're not looking to date you. We're looking to make money, right? So I shot a model, I want to say about 2-3 weeks back, and we did a collaboration shoot. And the model was phenomenal. She signed to a couple agencies, and as we were shooting, she said, "People don't understand that even though this is a free test shoot, it's not free because we're working. This is what we're using to get ourselves work with new brands, or work with new agencies, directors, whatever. So all the work that we do has to be done professionally because you never know when that shoot can lead to something bigger. And if you don't build up your portfolio the right way, no one's going to hire you for work.
Yeah.
So, you got to be professional with everything that you do here. You got to have a stylist. You got to have hair and makeup. You got to have a photographer assistant. When you have a whole crew working with you, it makes things a lot easier for you. Yeah. And it also stops you from doing stupid things, being like, oh, I'm going to take advantage of this model. No, you're not, because you got 3-4 people around you. They're all looking for you to be the director of this shoot to make sure that things get done right. Yeah. You got to work with your photo assistant. Say, hey, I need the light over here. Hey, for instance, my makeup artist named Monica. Monica, hey, can you fix your hair over here? Talk to the model. Hey, can you do this? The stylist may show up and say, hey, I got something great that will go with this outfit. So when you got all those people around you, you don't have time to be a scumbag. You don't have time to be an asshole. You don't have time. All you're doing is focusing on the shoot because everyone's working together in one goal. Yeah. That's to get more work.
Yeah. So, and even if you're a starting photographer and you're trying to, learn, and your friend is a model, there's still a sense of, integrity that you have to look for when you're supporting your photographer friend. From both sides. So, I had someone that wanted to shoot a lingerie thing, and I'm their friend. And they are supporting me by paying me. And I'm supporting them by giving them a picture that makes them look or feel their best. But even if you're a beginner photographer and you're by yourself and you are by yourself with this other person, there's no reason why you can't have a plan and have a conversation before you go into shoots like that, where both of you won't feel uncomfortable, taken advantage of. Alcohol, like I said, not a thing. I think it shouldn't happen. And, at the end of the day, when you go through a process like that, where we both are professional, even if you're starting out, then you're going to have great results and you're going to learn what you did in the process of what you're doing. So, it's all about communication. I think if you have a friend who's starting as a photographer and they're looking for models and you see that they're sort of going into a direction where, their pictures are tasteless, you might want to reach out to them and be like, hey, I want to see what you're working at and things like that, and just kind of touch base with them. If you're a professional and you've been doing this for a long time, I don't know, what can I say? Shame on you.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
because the last thing you want is to get on one of those dirtbag lists or scumbag lists of people not to work with.
Yeah.
Because, believe it or not, there are lists out there like that says, hey, don't work with this photographer.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not. You know?
The industry is pretty tight. They'll know the people, especially in the area.
Yes.
I know that Joe is known in the Miami area for shooting for a long time. He's local, he's from there, and so I think that if anybody would ever to come up and say, hey, Joe was this and that, and I was like, well, no, I don't think so. Ask your friends. I think Joe's very reputable, and he's honest, hardworking, and a lot of times, hey, probably shouldn't have done that for free.
Yep.
Things like that. So,
and like you said, there's lists out there. So like I said, so somebody can lie on you and say, hey, you're a scumbag, you're a dirtbag. It may not even be true. So ask around. That's the best you can do. The best advice I can say is ask around. Find the models on that person's page and message them and say, hey, listen, I'm thinking about shooting with Carlos. Can you tell me what your experience was like working with them?
Yeah.
Was it good? Was he cool? Was he inappropriate? And most models will tell you yes, I liked working with this person, or no, I didn't like working with this person.
Yeah.
Their community is tight because they don't want, just as much as photographers don't want scumbags in the industry, models definitely don't want scumbags in the industry. So if you're a dirtbag, they will tell you on you. Okay? Even if your work is phenomenal, they'll be like, listen, his stuff is great, but this is going to happen. This is a possibility, you know?
But a lot of photographers that are like that don't really make it far, man, because people that do, companies that shoot for commercials, advertising companies, creative agencies, they're not looking for that. They're looking for the best. They're looking for people that stand up for what's right and shoot beautiful campaigns.
Yes.
Simple things like, for example, I do products, If people are looking for a product photographer, that sometimes products have to be shot with models, and these models could have an extensive portfolio of whatever down the road, but like agencies need photographers that have a reputable history of not just talent, but also working great with models and people. It's not just, hey, let's meet up here and let's shoot, whatever. It's, hey, let's have a conversation first. So I think that when you're looking to build your portfolio or your brand, you need to be having a conversation with the photographer. And the photographer needs to educate you on, number one, what you're going to be doing, or come up with a plan, like a mood board or things like that. And number two, what can you use these pictures for? What is a photographer going to potentially use these photos for? Where is that on paper? And it's the process can be sometimes a pain in the butt to go over these things. But if the photographer's like, oh yeah, now we're just doing this, it's like really easy, simple, great. But if I'm in lingerie, it shouldn't be like that. If I'm in the swimsuit, I want to be able to be safe, so be safe as a model, ask the questions, photographers, do your jobs.
No, exactly. Like, for instance, I had somebody contact me last night, and this is a model. So I went to New York Fashion Week. I didn't know anybody models in New York to shoot because I'm from Miami. So I reached out to some models, and I had a model say, hey, I'll meet up with you. We'll do a shoot. So we did a shoot. It came out. I thought the shoot came out amazing. She contacted me last night, said, hey, I'm going to be in Miami in October. Can we meet up and shoot? So, of course, I'm like, yeah, let's shoot, because you helped me out when I went to your city. So definitely come to my city. I'm gonna return the favor. But that's also like huge for me, because this is a model I shot about a year ago, who's now a year later saying, hey, I had a good experience working with you. I'm reaching out to you again. Because if she didn't have a good experience, she didn't like the images, nothing worked for her, she wouldn't have contacted me for another photo shoot. So you never know what one photo shoot can lead to, because maybe that photo shoot that we did last time, it was something different or whatever. Now we go this time, she's a little bit bigger now, saying like bigger as in like audience size for Instagram or whatever. But, she's a little bit more well-known or saying. And now maybe I shoot her again. It's like, wow, who shot those pictures? Oh, my guy Joe in Miami. You know what I mean? So it's just things like that you never know, that, you got to keep professional at all times, because you never know who can put you on to the next person.
Right.
And the next person, what connection they have.
Yeah. So, going back to this article, I think that like it's a lesson to be learned for both sides, how not to behave, I think, as people. And, with models, and like, the guy says, the photographer mentions that, who are you going to believe? Emily has been bouncing around naked and, in the Robin Thicke video, whatever. Like, who cares? That's her business, number one, right?
Right.
So yeah, like, lesson to be learned. I think that, you guys need to do your parts and research who you're working with. And obviously there's bad people around. So it's important that we have these conversations all the time. I think we should always be talking about this as photographers. I don't know how much is talked about in our industry.
No, well, it's not. So I'm gonna bring up influencers for a second
Yeah.
because there's a lot of influencers out there that say, "Hey, I need pictures taken, and I don't want to pay for these pictures, but I need pictures taken. I got a big following." And photographers that are inexperienced, they say, "All right, I'll shoot you for the following."
Right.
I'm guilty of that. I've done that plenty of times. I one day read the contract for the influencers, and I learned that these companies say, "Get these pictures for us, and then we will put it into our marketing database so that we can use any picture that you give us for marketing material."
Yeah.
Now, as a photographer, that's fucked up because I didn't sign off on that, and those technically are all my images that this model has now given to the company, and they can use it for marketing material. So if I go ahead and do the copyright for all my images and put it in the Library of Congress, and I see that company share that image, I can now sue them for $80,000 to $150,000.
Yeah.
Right. So it goes back to the dilemma of the paparazzi. Was he wrong for doing that? For what he did? And again, as I mentioned, actresses and actors are all like entrepreneurs. They're all their own little business. So me suing a brand for doing something like that compared to paparazzi suing a celebrity, it's almost like the same thing. But again, where Emily's picture, where you didn't even see her face, I just didn't see the point in that, you know?
Yeah. I think that the guy, I don't know. See, I wouldn't have gone through all that trouble to sue for that picture because I'm sure you can make money. Like if you're like making money selling a picture of somebody behind flowers, I'm sure you're making money with people's faces.
Well, okay, this is the dilemma though. Do you leave the $80,000 on the table, right? Because $80K is what you're suing for.
He's suing for $80K because she shared a picture on her Instagram that she's getting paid for. But I think it was more his. I don't know. Yeah, that's tough.
But see, okay, so that's the dilemma because the lawyer that's doing the sue for that. They called him like the copyright lawyer or something like that.
Copyright troll.
You know what I'm saying? Like so a lot of people are doing this stuff, and it's like, man, like so for me, for an individual like a celebrity, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But if it's Pretty Little Things or stuff like that, takes one of my pictures and they put up on the billboard, well then we got a problem. Now I don't think Pretty Little Things would do something like that. I think Pretty Little Things is smarter than that.
Yeah.
But the example is if a brand were to do that, or Gucci or Guess or somebody like that, I don't want to just sing out one brand. But, if they were to take the picture and put it on the billboard, you have legitimate rights. I've had a friend of mine that was she was an influencer, and she worked in the clubs here on Miami Beach. All of a sudden, she's posting up pictures of her on flyers for parties. But it's my pictures. So somebody told me, "Hey, Joe, did they pay you for that?" And I was like, no. At first, I was just like, "Hey, look at my picture on the flyers. It's cool." But the truth is, they used my picture to bring in audience for that weekend.
Yeah.
So, yes, that club should have owed me money for that.
100%.
And then she was working at, I think it was the same club or a different one. And it was her birthday. And they took one of the pictures I shot of her. And they put up all over the club to say it was her birthday and everything. I'm like, cool, my picture's up on the screen. But nobody asked me about this.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, for the birthday thing, I don't care. She's a friend of mine. Cool, the picture's up there for your birthday. I have no problems with that. The marketing thing was when I started noticing there was an issue.
Yeah.
And I talked to you about this before. I don't know if you remember. I shot a porn star. And it was a regular shoot on the beach of her in a bikini, nothing crazy. It ended up on the cover of her pornography movie. And then she's in like Exotica, the porn convention, and she's selling reprints for autographs.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's like, are you going to fight everybody?
Yeah, so that's the thing. You got to pick and choose your battles, I guess, right? I've had photos end up on websites for marketing things. I've had artists use my picture for their art. And
that's you.
And it goes back to, when you're shooting models, signing release forms. Not just that, but also selling licenses. Like I sell licenses all the time, and that's really hard to explain to clients, especially when if you're a small business.
Right.
How do I explain a license fee to somebody that is saying like, okay, I already bought the pictures. Why do I need to pay for a license? Well, because you're going to send it to publications, because magazines are going to post it this, and they're going to you're creating all this revenue stream now, So pick and choose your battles, I think, is really important. The artist that used my picture wants to do a painting and sold the painting later, I kind of let that go, but it's a lesson.
Right.
If you see that, I think you can call out companies. The people that use my food photos for their website, and they had like 4 or 5 of them. Never I gave permission to use those photos. I took them out of for my own personal use. The photos, they had a photographer, a staff photographer. They didn't ask me for any type of permissions. What I did was I simply went on and wrote an email to their marketing person and said, hey, those pictures weren't for sale. Those pictures were posted or to use for marketing without my permission. I'm happy to send you an invoice, and it's going to be expensive, or you can take them down. And I think those are the first steps that photographers should do, and models. It's, hey, let me see how I can solve this issue before I start getting to the into a problem, basically, because it becomes an issue. And you sometimes, photographers, like I said, not all of them make millions of dollars, and so you end up spending much more than what it was worth even arguing for. Yeah.
So like for me, I had somebody take a picture and do a huge mural, and they were selling in a gallery for like $15,000. So I didn't, I sent a cease and desist letter and said, hey, listen, I own the copyright to that image, everything like that. And I talked to the artist. And I said, listen, I think it's a great image that you did. I like your artwork. If you want to pay me money to use it, that's fine. But, that's what it is. And he said, oh, I talked to the model. She said she owned the copyright. And I said, well, she doesn't own the copyright. It was a photo shoot that we did. Did she present anything to you saying that she owned the copyright? And he said, no. I said, well, I know she didn't, because she doesn't own the copyright to the image. Yeah. So they were like, hey, we're not going to sell it. But my issue was it was in Italy. I'm in Miami.
Right.
He could have pulled it off his website and sold it anyway. Yeah. I have no way of knowing if he did that. So if I would hire a lawyer and they would want international laws and try to do everything, the best thing for me would have been, hey, you send me that picture now, and I would have hung that picture up in my house. But, it's one of those things like, how far do you want to go with this stuff?
Yeah.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, you should fight for what you rightfully are owed for, but pick and choose your battles.
Yeah.
And I think Emily has tons of money, so she can fight all these cases.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't.
The guy was risking so much by suing her. Like he can risk at the same time your whole career for trying to go after somebody who now is super famous.
But that's the thing I was mentioning. If you copyright your stuff with the Library of Congress, they are responsible for your lawyer fees.
Yeah.
So he's not risking a whole lot because Emily has to pay his lawyer fees.
I mean, what would you have done? I think what I would have done is I would have reached out to their managers or whoever does her Instagram or even herself and be like, hey, you can buy this picture from me. Right?
I mean, this day and age, I would just say, hey, Emily, can you tag me in the picture and mention me? just send people to me because more people are going to look at me as a celebrity photographer now.
Yeah, but does anybody know if she's making money off of this? I know that Kylie Jenner is probably one of the highest paid Instagram per post.
Probably, right? Yeah. Kylie and Kendall probably make tons of money for posts.
Yeah, so if she's making $1 million off of one post, I'm going to ask for some money too.
No, of course.
I'm not a paparazzi photographer.
Exactly.
I'm not that type of photographer. I'm more Like, I would love to be booked by Emily or Kylie, people like that to book me to shoot and take the proper steps, for release, for model release.
Exactly.
I just want to remind everyone that's listening or watching. We're talking about the Cuts article.
Yeah, I can pull it up real quick.
The Cuts article on buying back. Buying myself back? When does a model own her images? By Emily Ratajkowski.
Yes.
It's on thecut.com and also on New York Magazine. It's there's 3 different stories there that 2 of them we were touching base on, which I think it's important that, not because she's a celebrity, but I think that a lot of photographers come across these issues that aren't talked about much. So we're just talking about that right now. We would love your comments and what you guys think about all this, and how we can make. I think the point is how we can make the photo business a better business for models and for photographers at the same time. No matter what kind of model you are, or what kind of photographer you are as well.
Yeah, definitely, and it's a good point to bring up the article again, because we've been talking now for almost an hour.
Yeah.
So, if you stay with us this long, and we truly appreciate you staying with us, hearing what we got to say. If you want to leave a comment and let us know, like, hey, these guys are onto something, or hey, these guys are full of shit, feel free. We take the negative along with the positive comments. But this is just our opinion on it and how things should be handled in a professional way. And then again, we're also playing devil's advocate, because we see the point of, hey, you're leaving $80,000 on the table, and hey, or is it ethically right to be doing stuff like this?
Right.
So it's the devil's advocate, right? Because right now I don't have 80K in my bank, and I'd love to have 80K in my bank account.
Also, guys, make sure you follow Joe Mato's photo. Follow Joe. He's based out of Miami, Florida. He shoots lifestyle, fashion, swimwear, and runway. So you'll catch him with a whole bunch of type of designers, and he has a whole team out there. What's the name of your team?
So yeah, we started a team called All In Productions, and that's with myself, Wellington, Miami, and Dwayne Bird Photo, and then we have stylist Monica with us. We don't have a page for that yet, so that's the production team that I use. And then I have another page called Meeting with Miami Creatives, and that's called let me see if I have it. I don't have it. So it's at MWM Creatives, and that's a platform that myself and Wellington created just to give us a space for creatives to come on and talk. I'm going to share this interview on Meeting with Miami Creatives. I'm going to share it on Instagram, and then I'm going to share it on my Instagram page at Joe Mato's Photo. This is streaming live now to YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Facebook Live. So we're going live right now to a couple people. But come tomorrow, or maybe like Monday, I want to say probably Monday would be better. I'll probably reshare this on Instagram, on IGTV Live. And then Carlos is also going to get a copy of this as well.
I'll share it on my IG as well.
Yeah, so you can share it, and we can all just have this conversation out there. And I know that we've been talking for a while, but it's important that models know that the usage of the copyright, it belongs to the photographer. Talk to the photographer about what they're doing with the images. They should be able to give you an honest answer of what they're doing. And photographers, don't be a scumbag. Don't be a dirtbag, man. Like,
do your jobs.
Yeah, do your job. Be professional. Don't take advantage of a young model and say, hey, let me get you naked. And then, oh, my God, she's a celebrity now 2 years later. Let me post. I think he published 3 books. He had an art exhibit, art gallery exhibition. And I get it. As a photographer, we have all these images. Like, I shoot fashion shows. So I was going to release a book for the fashion shows that I did. and that's completely different, right? Because I was authorized to be an advisor. I'm taking pictures of the show. If I release the book, it's going to go out with the fashion show's name on it. Nothing's explicit in there. When you do something like this with just a model, you're really crossing. You're on that line. You're really playing with it. So don't be that guy. Just make sure that you do stuff right. And ladies, if you're a photographer, come out there, because there's plenty of ladies out there, plenty of models that prefer to shoot with ladies. All right, I'm gonna put the secret out there. There's plenty of models that would rather shoot with a female photographer than a male photographer because they feel more comfortable. So again, be professional. Do your job. Let's get things done the right way. I think we've touched on everything, Carlos. Is there anything else you want to touch on? Because we're going on about an hour of talk here.
No, I don't think so. I think let us know if you guys have questions on how the process works with us. I shoot lifestyle and products, so a lot of the products go hand in hand with model work sometimes, and there is a process before and after. So ask us what you guys need to know before you book us or anything.
Right.
Once again, I'm based out of New Orleans, Louisiana, and Joe is based out of Miami, but we both travel.
Correct.
So I'm going to throw my little pitch in there. Follow us, book us. We have reasonable rates. We have a great team. And we appreciate all the support, especially through this time with COVID and everything. And go out and vote.
Go out and vote, exactly. And I'm a veteran, so I'm going to say it like this. If you like Trump, vote for him. If you like Biden, vote for him. If you don't like either one, pick one, okay? Go out there and vote. Make sure your voice is heard, okay?
Yeah.
I don't want nobody to sit here and say, oh, they're only supporting one candidate. No. You have the right to go vote for whomever you like. It doesn't matter who I like. It doesn't matter who Carlos like. We're not even talking about who we like. Just go out there and vote and get out there. It's November 3rd, I believe, is the election date. So,
I think so.
Go out there and vote. And again, it's all love over here. I love America, so I'm voting for America. What I feel is best for America. So I hope you guys do the same thing. So, yeah, that's all I got here.
For having me again, man. I hope to catch up with you soon.
Yeah, no doubt. So, and again, I'm based in Miami, Florida. I'm Joe Matos Photo. Carlos is based in New Orleans. He is Carlos M. Silva Photo. We travel. You're in New York? Cool. We'll go to New York. You're in Nebraska? Fine. We'll go to Nebraska. You're in LA? Cool. Let's go to LA. So we hit the whole country. I have a passport. I'm pretty sure Carlos has a passport too. If not, he'll get one. You want to to England? We'll be in England, okay?
Yeah.
So whatever's needed, man, we're willing to travel and ready to do everything that we got to do to get the right photos taken. So if you're a brand, a designer, whomever, reach out to us. We're very professional. As you can see, we're ethical as well. We're not just professionals. We're human beings, and we're treating people properly. We're not just using people as they're just subjects. So that's all I got here today, guys. Again, I'm Joe Matos. This is Carlos. I think we're done here today, man. You guys have a great day, and hopefully, subscribe to the channels, like, comment, share. If you like what we had to say, tell your friends about us. And yeah, that's where I'm at. So,
thanks, guys.
Carlos, thanks so much again.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, and all right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Thanks for hanging with us for about an hour.
Peace.
All right, peace.